Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, again, we're breaking it down. 2025 picks of 2025. We're going to talk about my best picks, my worst picks. I'm an open book over here. Again, if you guys like these types of videos, subscribe, like, and comment down below. Slap that hype train thingy if it pops up. I'm not even really for sure if it's going to. But either way, let's jump right into it. So, first card of the year was Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas 2, and I picked Dern by submission. I was correct besides picking the round. That one was pretty damn easy. And the next I picked Magomed Gonzalez. He fought Bruno Lopez. Obviously, Bruno Lopez won that fight. I thought Magomed would do a little bit better against Bruno Lopez, who we've seen against Dustin Jacoby. Look not great on the feet. And I thought he would look a little bit better. He didn't. I mean, it's clear as day. Then I picked Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris by TKO or knockout. And Carlston Harris started that fight pretty well, dropped Santiago a couple of times, and then Santiago came back and ended up winning. Now I got 3 in a row wrong. Abdul against Cesar Almeida, Jose Johnson versus Felipe Bunez, and Punahele Soriano versus Uros Medic. I thought Medic would win by decision. He's decent at keeping his range. He has good power as well. Soriano hasn't looked good in a long time. And then, of course, Punahele Soriano finishes Medic within, it was under a minute. And then Abdul Razik Al Hassan against Cesar Almeida. Abdul was looking good, got too confident, got too cocky, had big power, was landing good shots on Cesar Almeida. And Almeida was able to counter him and finish him. And then Felipe Bunez was able to submit Johnson, I believe, with an armbar. And yeah, I thought Johnson, we hadn't really seen anything good from Felipe Bunez. So I just thought Johnson would be able to squeak out a decision. That's why I picked decision. And then I got 2 right with Preston Parsons versus Jacoby Smith. Joe Selecki versus Nurullo Aliev. I picked Aliev by decision and Smith by TKO or KO. And I was correct. That's exactly how I thought that was going to go. Then I got 3 wrong to start the card. Trey Ogden, Thiago Moises, Fatima Klein versus Victoria Dudakova, and then Roman Kopylov, Chris Curtis. I thought Curtis would win a decision. Kopylov's distance striking did pretty well. The pressure from Curtis really didn't show up in this fight like I thought it would. Fatima Klein, I did not expect her to beat Victoria Dudakova at all. And then Trey Ogden versus Thiago Moises. I just thought Trey Ogden, his safe style, I thought we would be able to beat a guy like Thiago Moises. Again, who just hasn't looked very good as of this fight or whatever. But I believe right after this he was knocked out cold by Jared Gordon. But either way, next page. Now we have Izzy versus Imavov. I don't think that's correct. Don't think that's correct because the Imavov card I got 100% correct. Either way, I guess let's just play on. Izzy versus Imavov. Yep, I thought Imavov would win by TKO or KO. Syed Nurmagomedov versus Vinicius Oliveira. I thought Oliveira would win. I thought he possibly could finish him, but he wins anyways. Faraz Zion versus Mike Davis. I thought Davis would win. I've counted him out in a lot of his performances, and then Zion was able to really dominate that matchup. Also, Mike Davis tried to grapple in that matchup. Very strange to me. Bogdan Grad versus Lucas Alexander. I thought Grad would win. I thought he'd win by decision. He got a finish. And then I had missed 4 in a row with Clayton Carpenter, Tager Ulanbekov, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov, Hani Barcelos, Peyton Talbot, and Carol Rosa versus Aline Perez. I thought Carol Rosa, I think this is right after her fight with Urain Aldana. I thought she would do really good in this matchup. She didn't look very good. Hani Barcelos versus Peyton Talbot. I thought Talbot would win a decision. I thought he'd have bigger moments in some rounds to win the rounds. Hani Barcelos just looked really, really good. Was able to grapple. Was able to surprise Talbot. Barcelos won, fair and square. And then Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I thought, still to this day, I think Umar Nurmagomedov won 3 out of 5 rounds. I thought he won 3-2 pretty clearly. But Merab Dvalishvili made it close and ended up taking home the decision and the belt. And then Clayton Carpenter versus Tager Ulanbekov. I thought Clayton Carpenter would win by TKO. He had good moments in the fight, but Tager's grappling just was really, really good in this matchup. Then I got 3 in a row correct. Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano. I thought Makhachev would finish him in round number 2. He finishes him in round 1 with a submission. I still got it correct. Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Spivak looked good, and then Jailton Almeida looked really good. So, I'm pretty sure that was correct. Yeah. Almeida won that matchup. I know he won, but I thought it was Spivak was in control, and then Almeida took control and ended up winning. And then Reiner de Ridder versus Kevin Holland. De Ridder submission. One of the easier picks. I wanted Kevin Holland to win. I just didn't know how he was going to do it with the grappling that de Ridder has. And then next is Zach Reese versus Azamat Bokayev. I thought Reese would win in round number 1 because he doesn't get out of there. I was correct on the round 1 KO. I just wasn't correct on who did it. I was just underestimated Azamat. I wasn't for sure how he would do in his debut with a guy like Zach Reese who was going to bring the fight to him. Azamat looked really good and then knocked out Ryan Loder after this matchup. I believe he's fighting someone pretty good coming up here soon too. And then Billy Elkana versus Bogdan Guskov. I didn't think Billy Elkana looked very good on the regional scene. I picked Guskov to win by TKO or KO. I didn't expect Elkana to really grapple as much as he did. He made it a little closer, a little scary at points too. And I was correct, but Guskov winning. I just didn't think it'd be submission. And then I got 2 wrong with Jamal Hill versus Yuri Prohaska and Rinya Nakamura versus Muin Gafarov. I picked Nakamura by decision. I mean, I would still do this. I think 9 times out of 10, Rinya wins. Muin just looked really, really good in this matchup. I mean, that's it. And then Yuri Prohaska versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill looked the worst he's looked in any fight since that Achilles injury. You could say a little bit that Yuri has changed his style a tad, but I think a lot of it was how sloppy Jamal Hill was. A guy like Yuri could even make those reads. Counter, step back, counter. Step back, move, counter. And then Jamal Hill he got destroyed. Then I got 4 out of 5 correct. I got Diego Ferreira versus Grant Dawson. I picked Dawson by TKO or KO. I'm pretty sure he wins a decision. Ricky Turrios versus Bernardo Sapage. I picked Sapage by TKO or KO, but Sapage still won. Marcos Turlio versus Ihor Potiera. I picked Turlio by TKO or KO. That was a very easy pick if you watched Marco Turlio. Christian Rodriguez versus Austin Bashi. I picked Bashi by decision. Rodriguez showed once again that he's no one to be slept on. I know he just lost to Andre Fili. Closer matchup, but I did think Fili won that. I thought it was pretty clear. And then Ernesto Karakady versus Nicole Cagliari. I picked Karakady to win by decision, and that's exactly what she did. And then, get this freaking thing out of here. Oh, okay. And then I got 2 out of 3 correct right here. Elijah Smith versus Vince Morales. I thought Smith potentially could be the first one to finish him, but I had Smith won. Vince Morales made it a lot tougher of a matchup than a lot of people expected. I expected Vince to be tough. Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. I thought Suarez would be able to submit her. She looked big. She looked strong in the last few fights. Zhang Weili just showed how much of a champion she is. She showed how goddamn good she was. And then DDP versus Sean Strickland 2. I thought Dricus would win by submission. If you watched the first fight, Dricus took him down with ease multiple times and then just stood up. So me thinking on that basis, I thought Dricus could submit him. Again, it doesn't really matter because I still got it correct, but that is what I thought. And then I went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, and 1 out of 9 fights. So I thought Justin Tafa versus Taliesin Teixeira. I underestimated Teixeira. I thought Tafa would win by KO. Justin Tafa's trash. Again, I underestimated Taliesin Teixeira. I didn't know how he would perform in his debut. Gabriel Santos versus Jack Jenkins. I thought Jenkins would win in a decision. To my credit, Jenkins was looking really, really good until he wasn't. Boris Slaviklaus versus Tom Nolan. I thought Borishev would beat Tom Nolan. I thought he was a more technical fighter. Tom Nolan showed good grappling in that one. Colby Thicknessy versus Alexander Topuria. I still think Thicknessy. I was more impressed with him than Topuria in that matchup, but Topuria obviously won it. And then Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. This was a draw. Jimmy Crute looked incredible in the first round, and Bellato won the last 2 rounds, so it's a draw. I had Crute winning by decision. Yeah. Rong Zhu versus Cody Steele. I had Steele by TKO or KO. Rong Zhu had looked awful in the UFC. And Cody Steele, I just overhyped Cody Steele to me. I overplayed my card on that one. I thought, again, Rong Zhu hasn't looked good. Just got a big win over Austin Hubbard, I believe. But yeah, Cody Steele didn't look very good in that matchup. And then Anshel Jobley versus Quinlan Salkild. I had him by TKO or KO. It was very clear. And then, under 30 seconds he finished him? Yeah, Anshel Jobley's not good. Kevin Joseph versus Jonathan McAuliffe. I thought Joseph would win by TKO or KO. Jonathan McAuliffe has looked not very good in the regional scene. The stuff that I had watched of him in the PFL and all that just did not look very good. And he showed up and threw head kicks for 3 rounds and looked pretty good. And then Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. This is another mistake that I made. I overhyped Francisco Prado after his Zardar knockout, I believe it is. He just hasn't been very good since then, and I just think that a Zardar guy is not very good. So I fell into the hype of Prado when Jake Matthews is very good and a clear winner there. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 correct. Kong Wong versus Bruno Brazil. I had Wong, whatever, by decision. She got that. Damir Hazovitz versus Terrence McKinney. I had McKinney by TKO or KO. Gets that. Muhammad Naimov versus Khan Afli. I had Naimov by TKO or KO because I thought Afli came back too soon, but Naimov wins a decision. Thomas Peterson versus Shamil Gaziv. I had Gaziv by TKO or KO. That was a very easy pick. Myra Bruna Silva versus Jasmine Jasavicius. Jasavicius won by decision, clearly. Now she's fighting again is Myra. She's fighting Cavalcanti, I think her name is. Hamdi fighting Jamal Pogues. I had Abdul by TKO or KO, but he still wins a decision. Shara Bowler versus Michael Venom Page. I thought Page would TKO or KO him. Clearly, he won that fight. It wasn't even that close. And Sergey Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I had Pav. I thought he'd win by a TKO or KO. And one of the most boring fights I've ever watched. But again, wins the matchup. On to number 15. Okay, here we go. 3 out of 4 correct on the first 4. So, Ricky Simon versus Javid Basharat. I thought Basharat would be able to stick and move. Ricky Simon has not looked very good before this fight. And Simon flatlines Javid Basharat. Wild to me. And then you come back, Henry Cejudo versus Yadong Song. Song Yadong, Jesus. I thought Song would win by TKO or KO in the 4th round. I thought Cejudo looked good at the end of the 2nd round, I believe it was. I thought the referee should have made it a no contest. There was no reason to go to a decision, to be honest, but Song won. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Nick Klein. I thought Abdul would win by KO. Obviously, he didn't win in round number 1. Nick Klein threw a disgusting spinning back elbow, I believe it was when Malik was coming in, and hurt him. And then he came back and absolutely destroyed him. But, yeah, I was correct on that one. Anthony Hernandez versus Brandon Allen. I thought Hernandez would win by TKO or KO. I guess he came in with hurt ribs and all that stuff, but he still was able to virtually dominate that matchup and win. And then I got the next 3 wrong. Rob Font, Gene Matsumoto, Ibo Aslan versus Ian Kutulaba, and Alonzo Menafield versus Julius Walker. So, Gene Matsumoto, I thought would win by submission. I just thought he would finish, to be honest. Rob Font has not looked very good, and this is a matchup where he showed up and he looked good. He also, fuck Rob Font. He decided it was okay to fake a glove touch. Cool. Next, Ibo Aslan versus Ian Kutulaba. I thought Aslan would win by round 1. I just thought he would finish, really. The round 1 stuff's weird. But I thought he would finish because Kutulaba is very susceptible to being... he was submitted by Johnny Walker, for fuck's sake. And Kutulaba looked good. Not much you can say. Alonzo Menafield versus Julius Walker. I thought Walker won a decision here. I thought this was the decision that should have went his way. I picked Walker because Menafield has not looked very good. That's clear. And then my next 3 fights I got correct. Nursultan Rizabayev versus Eric Marconico. Clearly, Rizabayev was going to win. I got round number 2, Rizabayev. Andre Fili versus Costa. I thought Costa would win by decision. He actually submitted Andre Fili with a guillotine. and Feely sat into it. Very weird. Dylan Budka versus Edmund Shabazian. Obviously, Shabazian was going to knock him out. Dylan Budka is just trash. Jared Cannonier versus Gregory Rodriguez. Chaos Williams, Bonfim. I got wrong. I thought Rodriguez would find the TKO or KO. Some part of that I was correct. I mean, he dropped him, I think, 3 times in the first round and then just ran out of gas. So, yeah. And then Williams, I thought he would be able to catch Bonfim. Bonfim hadn't really been tested before this, and Williams didn't really fight the way I thought he was going to. Bonfim looked really, really good in that matchup. Did rob Wonderboy in his next one. Absolutely rob him. But got that one wrong. And then Jose Delgado versus Connor Matthews. Delgado by TKO or KO. I was correct on that one. Very easy pick on that one. And then Caitlin Souza versus Angela Hill. I thought Souza would win a decision. Angela Hill won a decision. So Calvin, I got the next 3 right. Calvin Kattar, Yusuf Zalal. Easy win for Zalal. People are like, he's running. It's called footwork. How about you cut the fucking octagon off so you can get to your guy? How about that, Calvin Kattar fans? Nazim Sadikov versus Ishmael Bonfim. Bonfim actually started this fight out looking pretty good. Sadikov threw a disgusting switch head kick and was able to catch Ishmael Bonfim and TKO him. It was crazy. And then Julia Olivia versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Like I said, Cavalcanti's fighting Mayra Bruno Silva. Cavalcanti, I thought she would win by submission. She still won. That's all that matters. But yeah, she won. And then I got Andre Petroski versus Rodolfo Vieira. I thought Vieira would win by submission. Petroski won this matchup. Very weirdly won it. Then I got the next 2 correct. Walter Walker versus Dontel Mays submission. Walker submission. Obviously. Yeah. And then Jesus Aguilar versus Rafael Estevim. I thought Estevim would win by submission, but Estevim won the fight in general. So, yeah. Next. Okay. And then 2 and 2 out of these first 4. I got correct. Mauricio Ruffi versus King Green. This was the easiest pick of probably this year. I love King Green, but I mean, come on. And then Viziev versus Gaethje. The Jordan Santos versus Ozzy Diaz. I thought Viziev was gonna. He looked good in the first matchup. I thought he actually won the first matchup. I thought he won the first 2 rounds. And in this one, Viziev looked bad, and Gaethje was able to capitalize and win. I mean, there's not really much else you can say. The Jordan Santos versus Ozzy Diaz. I thought Santos actually won this. I thought it was a split decision. But I thought Santos won. Ozzy Diaz looked pretty good, though. So, it was a fun fight. Bruno Ferreira versus Armin Petrosian. Ferreira won by submission. I believe armbar. Petroski got cut after this one. Petrosian got cut after this one. Lasmin Lucerdo versus Lemos. I thought Lucerdo would use her movement and her good striking, and Lemos was able to win this matchup. She looked pretty damn good. And then Leal versus Santos. Carlos Leal versus Alex Morono. Francis Marshall versus Marion Santos. Santos may have robbed a decision here. I thought it was close. I thought Santos probably could have won it, but it was a very, very close matchup. And I believe Marshall even knocked down Santos. So Carlos Leal versus Alex Morono was, again, clear one. I only picked decision because Morono is weird to finish sometimes. But he absolutely steamrolls through Alex Morono. Next is Ricardo Ramos versus Chepe Mariscal. I thought Ramos by submission. He's very weird with his submission sometimes, is Ricardo Ramos. And Chepe Mariscal looked really goddamn good. That's just all you can say. And then Mario Pinto versus Austin Lane. I picked Pinto by KO. I said round 1 here, but just to finish is really what I was saying. Austin Lane worried me for a little bit, or I guess Pinto worried me for a little bit. And then he was able to find that shut-off shot. So, let's go. And then I got the next 3 wrong on Nasser Haqparast versus Esteban Ribovics. Ribovics coming off that head kick KO. Or no, he's coming off of the Zahuber fight of the night. And I thought his boxing would show up and show out against Nasser, who will be there to strike. And Haqparast did a really, really good job of sticking and moving. I mean, that's it. Ribovics hurt him at the end of round number 3 pretty badly, but Haqparast did enough to win it. Looked so good. Charles Johnson versus Razmin Temiyov. I picked Johnson to win. I thought his movement, and his good cardio would win him this matchup, and Temiyov ended up winning pretty close decision, I think it was 2-1 Temiyov. So, and then Sam Patterson versus Danny Barlow. Yeah, this had upset written all fucking over it. I picked Danny Barlow by TKO or KO. And then you watch the fight, he's overextending, he's overthrowing, and Sam Patterson catches them and finishes them. I mean, what can you do? I mean, he looked not great. And then Patterson capitalized. Next, Manel Kape versus Sue Amanbeyov. I picked Kape by TKO or KO in round number 3. I know there's eye poke stuff that's weird. I know this, but Manel Kape was still hitting him as this stuff was happening. So, I was correct on that one. And then I got the next, 1 out of 5 correct. William Gomes versus Haider Amil. I thought Gomes would win a decision. And to my credit, Gomes was looking really good at most parts in this matchup. And they gave the decision to Haider Amil. Next is Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez. I thought Marquez would win. I picked submission, but I just thought he would win. And to my credit, he hurt Brundage really fucking bad, and then he just couldn't pull the trigger and get him out of there. So, Lucas Almeida versus Danny Silva. I thought Silva would win by decision. Pretty easy pick there for me, to be honest. Just Danny Silva's a better striker. Lucas Almeida is a robot. So, JD Aldridge versus Andrea Lee. I thought Andrea Lee would make this fight very, very weird. And again, at some points, she did. But JJ Aldridge would win a decision. Austin Vanderford versus Nikita Valentinov. Jesus. Yeah, I thought he would win by TKO. I thought Nikolai would win by TKO. Austin Vanderford looked pretty good. His ground game looked good. His takedowns looked good. His control looked good. He just did not look good in his last 2 fights. Just didn't. Maybe in the last 3. I can't remember now. But Modestas Bukauskas versus Rafael Cerqueira. Not really for sure why I picked against Bukauskas in this one. I just thought it was Modestas gets hit a ton and his chin's weird at times. So that's one I would like to have back because I know, even before the knockout, I knew Modestas was going to win. Even when I talked about it, I said Modestas was going to win this matchup. So I don't know why necessarily I picked Rafael in that one. And then Gene Silva versus Melsick. Obviously, Silva was going to win this by TKO or KO. That was clear as day. Clear as day. Oh, man. God, my fucking nose. Okay. And then let's go that. And then let's go to... We already know that, so we don't need to go there. We just seen that, so... Just seen that. I guess let's go last. And then we were on 13. Let's go. Okay, let's do this one. This will be the last one we do at number 12. So, this one. All right. Yeah. Victor Henry versus Pedro Falcao. I had Henry winning, and he ended up winning this one. I had him by finish, but Henry won. Robert Valentine versus Torres Finney. I picked Finney to win by TKO or KO. He didn't look great in this matchup, but he dominated. So, Josh Emmett versus Laurel Murphy. I had Murphy probably by finish. He was able to win a 5-round decision. Looked pretty good as well. And then I lost the next 2 fights. Yuran Saltibaldiev versus Martin Buday. Yuran, I didn't realize wasn't a heavyweight fighter. For some reason, it escaped my mind. He was held against the cage most of the fight. It did hurt Buday in that 3rd round. Actually just beat Yuran. I can't remember his last name, but the guy that has the twitch and he grabs his eye all the time. He just, what is that called? He just did what the fucking, what, Olenek did. I can't remember what the choke's called now, but he just did that to Yuran. So, and then Alancanta versus Vanessa Demopoulos. I picked Vanessa by Demopoulos. I thought she'd have a little bit more urgency in the matchup. And Talita looked really good. Just bad pick by me. And then Pat Sabatini versus Joe Anderson Brito. I picked Sabatini by decision. It was a pretty easy pick for me, to be honest. Brito hasn't looked very good in a little bit. Even though I did think he beat Gomes. But, yeah. Romanis versus Cheng Ho Lee. I picked Lee. And Lee actually got a finish. I believe it was a finish. Yeah, TKO from the back mount. Yeah. Got a dominant position and was able to finish him. Then I went 1 and 2 my next 3. Ode Osborne versus Louis Gurriel. I just liked Louis in the Contender Series fight, and that's just not the Louis that showed up for Ode Osborne. I said in my prediction that I thought Ode had power, he had good speed, he has good movement, all of these things. He is susceptible to being hit. Oh, also, Louis came in on a straight line. He was overshooting and throwing his punches, and Ode was able to make a counter and finish him. It was a beautiful shot. And then Diana Belbita versus Diana Barboza. I picked Barboza to win, and she did. And then I went 1 and 2 on my next 3. Reese McKee versus Daniel Frunza. I thought Frunza would win a decision. Reese McKee had not looked good in the UFC at all. And then Loma Lookbomi versus Estela Nunes. I thought Lookbomi would win by decision, and she absolutely did. Then I picked GM3 versus Brad Tavares by submission. I just thought, I know Tavares has really good takedown defense, but I thought it would only take 1 or 2 submission attempts for GM3 to find that submission, and he didn't. It's hindsight. Yeah, I probably should have picked the guy that has better takedown defense, and he's shown it through his entire career, and Meerschaert has a hard time getting guys down. But we've also seen Meerschaert get guys down later in a fight and submit them. It's happened multiple times. Then I got the next 2 correct. Vince Pichel versus Rafa Garcia. Closer matchup. A lot of people thought Vince Pichel won. I thought Garcia did just enough. CJ Vergara versus Edgar Chavez. I picked Edgar Chavez by submission. He did that. CJ Vergara has not been very good at all since his Contender Series fight. Then I went 3 and 2 in my next 5 fights. I guess 3 and 3 in my next 6 fights. I picked Drew Dober against Manuel Torres. I just thought Dober coming off that Gene Silva fight would have a little bit more intensity, a little bit more go. And he kind of waited a little bit too much against Manuel Torres and then shoots. I believe he gets caught and then he grabs a single leg and gets absolutely destroyed. And then Julia Palastri versus Lupita Godinez. Godinez wins by decision. That's what I picked. Simon Oliveira versus David Martinez. Very easy, clear win here. Pick here. Martinez by TKO or KO. Better movement. Oliveira looks decent but stands super upright and doesn't have good defense. Jose Medina versus Teba Gutierrez. I picked Jose Medina in this one because how tough he was. I didn't know if Teba could get him out of there super early, and I wasn't for sure on Teba Gutierrez. And I picked Jose Medina to win by decision. Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. I picked Erceg by decision. Moreno just looked like his former self. What more can you say? I thought Erceg would grapple a little bit more. He hasn't looked good since his David Dvorak fight. Obviously, almost became champion against Pantoja. So I guess you could say the last time he looked good was against the champion. But he hasn't mixed everything together well like he did against the David Dvorak fight. And I thought he was going to mix it up in the Moreno fight, and he didn't really. And then Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. I had Rosas Jr. by decision, but Vince Morales made that fight really fun to watch. That guy is a dog. Even if he loses in the UFC, he is a dog. But again, those are some of my picks of 2025. If you guys want to see the rest of them, let me know for sure, and we'll talk about them. But I know people don't really talk about their picks. I know people don't talk about the stuff that they get wrong. I'm perfectly fine with talking about stuff that I got wrong. I appreciate you guys. Subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.